Hi, guys. Happy New Year's Eve. It is with a joyful, faith filled heart that we remember and acknowledge and lay to rest any conception of victimization. This is your permission to write your obituary to unalive the old man. Okay, we're going to talk about that since it's New Year's Eve and we're heading into a new year and people are making resolutions. And we're going to talk about the New Year's resurrection. And now I'm not going to be, precise with what they talk about in the Bible, but we are going to go through what the old man is and how subtly and yet strong and persistently it can hang on, or we are hanging on to it, I suppose, and what you can do to let go of it and start embracing this resurrected concept of yourself that is perceiving your reality from fulfillment. So, the old man can be really subtle, but for those of you that don't know, I should explain what it is without just continuing to call it the old man. That's how Neville refers to it. Maybe it came from the Bible. I don't know exactly if they say the old man in the Bible. Probably, maybe, who knows? But, well, somebody knows. I'm sure somebody will comment on it. um, but, so the old man is a state of consciousness that is no longer desired. It is a state of consciousness that is keeping you in a place where you're experiencing a reality that is not fulfilling. And to further help you understand, it is the state of consciousness itself that is aware of non fulfillment and thus pushing out and creating this experience or reflection that we perceive as non fulfillment. So the old man can be incredibly subtle, but it can also have a really tight grip on us. And I know this from experience because I struggled for a very long time to drop it and to learn or recognize, I suppose, where I was still hanging on. And basically, I want to point out, and this is, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people, mostly regarding specific persons. And so many of them have come to me, and I've been in this experience as well, where it's like you're anticipating your person messaging you or reaching out to you, but there's this tinge of like, I have to protect myself, or there's this air of I'm better than them because they did this shitty thing to me, or there's this fear that they're going to disappoint you one more time, or that they're just pulling you in to push you away. And there's so many different ways, or that they're just not really giving it their all. They're just kind of being lazy about it. And it's just, it's all a very personal experience. And however you're translating it and perceiving it is personal to you and may not be exact with what I'm saying. But basically, if you're feeling any type of disappointment, anger, frustration, lack, concern, worry, uh, righteousness, even like self righteousness, that's an indication that you're holding on to a concept that's not serving your desire. Now, if your desire is to be in a harmonious relationship, then you would practice the state of consciousness where you are completely always just doting on and admiring and loving your person because they've never done any harm to you. They're not somebody you feel like you need to protect yourself from. They're somebody you feel safe with. They're somebody you feel proud of. They're somebody you admire. They're somebody you are excited to talk to. They're somebody that you thrive when you're around, or you feel held up and supported when you think about. And so that would be your ideal concept to create your ideal relationship. But it can be tricky to, first of all, be aware of how we're holding on to an old concept. And it can also be challenging because sometimes our ego doesn't want to let go. Like sometimes we want to be mad. Sometimes we want to be hurt. Sometimes we want to be the victim. And while we would consciously say, I don't ever want that, I think we've all been in those experiences where it almost feels good. It almost feels like this self-fulfilling, like I knew this would happen again, or like it's like a self-righteousness, like here I am being a victim again, or here I am disappointed by this person again. And like that's the old man. That's what we have to drop and let go of. And you may not be manifesting a specific person. This might be related to health or your body or your appearance in other areas or your financial situation. But it's all the same. If when you think about these things that you desire, you have feelings of stress or thoughts, feelings, your being from a state of stress, frustration, disappointment, fear, concern, worry, anything like that, jealousy of others, that's an indication that you're operating from the awareness of non fulfillment. You're operating from a concept of lack. You're operating from a state of consciousness of lack. You're operating from non fulfillment. You're operating from the old man. And we have to drop that and let it go. We cannot be double minded. We can't be that and experience fulfilled desire. You can't be aware of hurt from somebody and simultaneously experience a relationship where you're safe with this person. Those two do not coincide. They can't coexist at the same time in consciousness through your experience. It just won't happen. You can't be aware of poverty and experience abundance. You can't be consciously aware of poor health and experience health. You have to stretch and expand what you're consciously aware of. You have to think bigger. You have to feel bigger, if you want to call it that. Deeper, bigger, more expansive, different. You have to reach a different plane. And so, how do you do this? Like, how do you, first of all, become aware of it? You start paying attention to the story you're telling. And whether it's a story you're telling out loud to people or a story you're telling internally, look at your natural thoughts, your natural assumptions, the natural feelings you go to, the natural inner conversations you may be having. These are all telling. They're revealing to you the state you're operating from. They're revealing to you the state you're being dominantly. Whatever you return to naturally is your dominant state. So if every time you think of your specific person texting, you approach it with this sort of, they're going to prove themselves to me, they better prove themselves to me, or you're imagining a conversation maybe where, who knows, you're arguing with them, they're apologizing to you, they're just being sort of half-assed and not really giving it your all, like whatever it is, this is revealing the state. You're operating from a state of lack. You're being more aware of lack than you are of fulfillment. You're being more aware of being a victim than you are of being empowered, or you're being more aware of being disappointed than you are of being pleasantly surprised or feeling like you can rely on somebody. And so that's really what it is. It's about being honest with yourself, observing yourself, and maybe keeping a notebook, maybe keeping a journal where you're, writing about what you were thinking and feeling that day. Before you try to change it, you need to be aware of it. I know a lot of people just want things to change, and I get that, but like, you can't change it if you're not aware of it and you're not the one doing the change. Nothing's going to change outside of you for you. Nothing's just going to show up and make it easy for you to change your state of consciousness. If it would, this wouldn't even be a career option for me. Like, it would be a totally different ball game. But it is like, that's how we do it. We have to learn through awareness and discipline to experience a higher state of consciousness. We have to give it to ourselves in imagination before we will experience it outwardly. And so that's also how you do it. You become aware, first and foremost. You stop pretending. You catch yourself when you're doing it and you point it out to yourself. Here's me operating from lack. Here's me still being mad about that. Here's me being worried about money. Here's me feeling stressed out about my health. Whatever it is. Here's me being angry about a specific person. Point it out to yourself. You may have to do this day after day after day. It's okay. Then I want you to practice revising these thoughts, these things, these maybe incidents that are happening, or if it's something from the past that you keep reliving and replaying. Revise the things that you're still consciously aware of that are coming from or have come from this old state of consciousness. Clean up your past. Your past is representative of a state of consciousness that you've been aware of. It's not even really something that happened in the past. That's just a linear perception for this realm, but it's a state of consciousness that's available to you always at all times until you kill it off and let go of it and stop picking it back up. So you revise all of the things that you feel have happened to you that are related to this state, whether it's lack, being not enough, rejection, whatever the state is, fear. Revise everything related to it, all the memories that you hold, and revise them all the way from the perspective of fulfilled desire, not just what seems like it would make sense or what would have been kind of okay. What would you have really wanted? If you were operating from fulfillment, what would have happened and how would it have been different? How would you have felt? What would you have heard? What would you have seen? How would you have felt? That's where you want to go with your revisions. Now, the other part of it is using your imagination deliberately and consciously. You have to create a controlled imagination. You have to create a version of you that can direct your imagination and that can control your imagination, because that's the only thing that you can control. That's the only place where you have free will, is in thought, in imagination, in awareness, or in consciousness. However you want to talk about it, whatever word you want to use to explain it, that's where all of your free will exists. And that's where the kingdom of heaven exists, or the experience of hell. Like, it all exists in awareness and consciousness within you. So you're not going to change your reality by forcing yourself to try to do different things in your reality, or by playing manipulative games, or whatever, like by being mad or being being a victim in reality and telling your person how mean they are to you. That's not going to change anything. That's going to perpetuate the old story and keep giving you the same experience. You're going to change your experience outside by changing your consciousness inside, changing what you're being aware of inside. Discipline yourself to create a scene that embodies the fulfillment of your desire, and persist in practicing this scene in imagination over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and as many times over until it feels natural. It might be discouraging because it may not feel natural for several nights. You might toss and turn. It might be frustrating. It might feel like your mind just keeps wandering off to something else. It might feel like you're trying to control too many details. Whatever it is, you just persist in this scene that really embodies fulfilled desire. That's another thing. Go all the way to the end. What is it that you really want? And then what is a very short, I always say like 3 to 7 seconds, somewhere around there, a very short scene where there's a sentence that's maybe being said to you and you're responding back. That's ideal, I feel like, where it's simple, but you can bring in aspects of what's happening around you, right? Like if you're close to somebody, you can feel the heat from their body. Maybe you can feel the breath from their words on your face or in your ear, right? If you're outdoors, maybe you can feel the sun on your face warming you. Maybe it's raining and you can feel the rain. Maybe it's warm and it's raining and you can feel that. Maybe it's light out, maybe it's dark out. Maybe you're standing on, outside hiking and you can hear the cracking of little branches underneath your feet, or his feet or her feet or their feet, right? Maybe you're in an office at your job, who knows? But like, create this scene and start allowing yourself to determine or decide what these details of reality, these tones of reality, what details are present before you try to make yourself imagine them. Get clear on what it is. Is it hot? Is it cold? And do it for fun. It's not like a chore you have to do, but you get to decide, like, is the sun shining on my face or do I feel the wind or the rain? Is it warm or is it cold? Are we indoors or outdoors? Do I feel the body heat from this person? Can I feel their hands in my hands? Do I feel their hands on my face? Do I feel their, kissing me on the forehead? Like, whatever it is. Are they rubbing your feet? Are you rubbing their feet? Are you having dinner together? Create something that you feel you can be familiar with enough to keep practicing it until it feels natural and normal for you. And 2 sentences. They say something to you indicating fulfilled desire, you respond back lovingly, also indicating fulfilled desire, and it's just beautiful. It's just harmony. It's just love. And practice that. Train your mind to practice it. Be persistent. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about persist. It doesn't mean you have to go crazy forcing yourself to do 1,000 affirmations a day or script 13 pages or whatever. Like, you get into a relaxed state, which should be the most ideal state of all, because we spend so much of our time dealing with life and doing things, right? So to be able to shut all that out, put yourself in a relaxed state, relaxed enough to where you start to feel that light, floaty feeling, that like expansive feeling, then you start playing this scene in your mind. And if you trail off and get distracted, as soon as you become aware that you've trailed off and got distracted, don't fret, just simply bring it back. Do it again. You're never starting over, you're just continuing. You might have, there might be breaks in there, but just bring it back and you'll be continuing from right where you stopped previously. It's not really a linear process. It's just a now moment. So if you in a now moment went and started thinking about something else, that's fine, because then in this now moment, you can bring it right back to thinking about fulfilled desire, thinking about your end scene. But that's how you make the new concept of self natural. That's how you propel yourself or pull yourself into that state of consciousness, is by use of your imagination. And it isn't always easy. It doesn't always just happen on the, second or third night. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes longer, honestly. Like, it depends on how disciplined you are to keep going and to keep persisting. That doesn't mean you can't take breaks, because you certainly can, but it just means that you want to practice the knowing or the trust or the faith that as you keep practicing imagining fulfilled desire, what you're doing is training your subconscious to accept fulfilled desire. And once your subconscious accepts fulfilled desire, well, guess what? It's going to create the experience for you of fulfilled desire. Now, the more natural and normal and sort of effortless being in the state of fulfilled desire has become is directly correlated to how long you'll stay in that experience in the 3D reality, which is why a lot of people get a lot of hot and cold, is because they practice long enough to just have it feel natural a little bit, and then it shows up, but they haven't kept practicing the naturalness of it. So when it shows up, they enjoy it immediately, but then right after the immediate enjoyment of it, start questioning it, start thinking it's not authentic, it must be lying, it's not true, it's not going to last, it's going to change, I'm going to lose it. And sure enough. So that's why I don't want you to rush this. I want you to enjoy the process of embracing the new resurrected self-concept, and embrace it so much so, no matter what's happening in your reality, keep embracing it so much so that it clouds out and pushes away any other concept. There's no room for an old man anymore, because it's just this new resurrected version. There's no room for any doubt. There's no room for any fear. There's no room for anger. There's no room for resentment. There's no room for, I need to protect myself. There's no room for, well, they suck anyway, so F them. There's no room for, what's the point? I don't have the money anyway. There's no room for, my body is just going to feel like this forever and it's probably just going to get worse, so who cares, right? We have to create this new space that we want to exist in. Now, obviously, all of creation is finished, I know, but what I'm saying is you have to expand your consciousness, stretch your consciousness beyond what you've known to be true as your experience, and all the way to fulfilled desire, to the point of feeling as if it's real now, to the point of feeling as though you're fulfilled in the now moment when you're imagining it. Anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. There's no exception. It works always if you do it. You do it all the time with things that you have no resistance to, completely effortlessly. Don't even realize that you're doing it. You think it's coincidence or you think it would have happened anyway. Nope, it's all you. You're doing all of it. You're doing all of it. Everything that's shown up in your life that you've been aware of up to this now moment was you. You pushed it out. You assumed it would happen. Therefore, it showed up. You're the only cause. So, that was a little bit of everything, I know, but I welcome you to write your obituary, lay to rest the old man. We are releasing all states of victimization. We are releasing and burying in the ground all states that relate to lack, whether it be in an area of life or perceived within the self. There's no room for lack. There's only fulfillment. We're releasing anger, resentment, hurt, distress, fear, worry, concern, doubt, all of it. We are imagining better than the best, and we are persisting and using that imagination until it feels effortless and easy and graceful and natural. And then we're enjoying the better world that we're creating. All right. So happy 2025, and I will see you guys during the next video. Bye.